Hello, and welcome to Horrific Tales. In this show we celebrate the creation of independent authors and aspiring writers. Please like and subscribe and share these episodes, so we can help our talented friends get as much exposure as possible. We would also appreciate if you could support our artists by following them on their individual platforms and by purchasing their works. Details on how to do this are in the episode description. In this horrific tale, a youth group's camping expedition takes them to strange and dangerous places. Join us now as we present Broken in the Dark by Gibson.
How much farther now? We've been walking forever, Serena shouts from the back of the group, who are making their way through the deep, eerie forest. Not long now, team. The map says it's just over the ridge, Greg yells back. The group of 5 teens and 2 adults are meandering along a narrow dirt trail, their destination, Luther's camping grounds. The sunshine is partially blocked by mammoth trees, spreading an ominous dark shadow across the expanse. Greg Hamilton is a new facilitator to the group, and the other facilitator, Carl Hughes, has led hundreds of teens into the bush at least 3 times a year for the past 20 years. This part of her job she enjoys the most. Immersed in nature, feeling the earth crunch beneath her boots, the age is catching up with her. Already prepared for no cell phone signal, as they journey deeper into the woods, Carl is trusting Greg to negotiate the map. This is her last camping trip, determined at the end of this, another chapter will be closed. All the things she's been putting off, waiting for freedom. No more smelly, grotty teenagers. Carl is totally over it. The track is steep as they near the ridge, which will take them to the camping grounds. At the top, astonished, Greg yells for Carl to join him at the front. He paces on edge. Gradually she climbs to the top beside him. Her body aches and niggles. What's the matter? Carl pauses, confused, looking at the horizon. Oh shit, we need to regroup and go over the map again. We must have strayed off the path, somewhere. Scarlet heats her cheeks. Mad at Greg's inattention, piercing him with rabid eyes. The campground is not at the bottom of the gully like Greg had thought. Only more hills raise their heads into the pale blue sky. The teens sit around the rocks, munching on energy bars, while the facilitators appraise the map intently. Carl is tired and weary, a headache forming behind her eyes. Dusk is a few hours off, so Carl makes the decision to forge ahead. If they go further along the path, they should intercept another trail she hopes will take them straight to the destination. Walking on, the kids chattering amongst themselves, Greg not paying attention, and Carl dreaming of the Caribbean, sitting on the beach with a cocktail in her hand, soaking in the hot sun. She's been saving her holiday payments for a ticket on the newest cruise ship. Top of the line, 5 swimming pools, stops in the Caribbean islands, drinks and food galore. Perhaps a new love interest. When finally they make it to the point they should be intercepting the trail, there is none. It doesn't exist. In a fury, Carl snatches the map from Greg, pissed that they are lost, accidentally ripping the map in half. Serena turns to Charlotte. I think we're lost. Should they be fighting like that? Everyone has stopped. The teens are gone, engrossed by the adults' hostile behaviour. Carl and Greg are yelling, throwing around blame and insults. Ugh! Carl stomps off, but not far away. She just needs a break and a chance to think. It's all my fault. I should never have trusted you, she mutters beneath her breath at Greg. Greg composes himself when he sees the dire look on the kids' faces. I think we're lost, but I'm fairly certain I can get us back on the right track, Greg says flippantly, trying to hold the 2 ripped pieces of the map together. The sun is nearly kissing the horizon. The sky, blanketed in purples, pinks and golds. Still, they are no closer to the campgrounds. Fortunately, they carry pop-up tents in their rucksacks, along with the usual garb, sleeping bag, food, water, wet weather gear, and supplies. It's getting late, and we need to find somewhere to camp for the night. Hanging up the other ridge to see if I can spot a place for us, Carol says, taking out her flashlight in case she needs it, as the sky darkens above. When she returns, the sky decides to spit raindrops at them. I've found somewhere, but we need to leave now. It's going to take a while to get there, and it's starting to rain. They follow her over a couple of hills, down into a gully, into a semi-sheltered clearing. It is far from ideal, but, given the circumstances, they will have to make it work. The sun falls below the horizon. White storm clouds streak across the sky. The birds are singing their trilling evening's lullaby, circling high above, and the rain falls like little pebbles. Hard, cold and annoying. They shiver when they enter the clearing, the temperature turned chilly. Charlotte and Damien are directed to gather wood. The makeshift camp is up against a rock face. The fire should be able to withstand the deteriorating weather. So what are you here for? Charlotte asked Damien as they collect firewood. Well, aren't you the nosy one? Nah, only kidding. I got into some trouble at school, so Mum and my stepdad thought this would be to stop me out of it. What about you? Charlotte sucks in a breath. My dad died in a car accident a few months back, and Mum's too busy to look after me. I know I'm 14, but I still need her. You know? Tears threaten to undo her, but she holds it in. Shit, that sucks. At least you had a dad. I don't even know where mine is. He dissed when Mum was pregnant. My stepdad's okay, but he yells a lot, Damien explains, looking out into the distance. All he can see is trees and more hills. With their heavy horde, the two make it back to camp. A majority of the tents have been erected. Carol decides to double up to save time and resources. She lights the fire, bathing them in some warmth. Later that night, Matt and Andy are in the same tent. The incessant drip, drip, drip of the rain stealing any chance of sleep. Darkness smothers them. A cold chill nestles into their bones. And although they are snuggled tight inside their sleeping bags, warmth is a distant memory. It's useless, man. Can't believe the god is lost. That Greg's a loser with a capital L. What's up with him anyway? Something's off about that dude. Fuck, it's freezing, Matt complains as they shiver in the damp cold tent. I like him. He talks a lot about nothing, Andy's teeth chattering. But he seems okay to me. I bloody hope we'll find the campgrounds tomorrow. Sucks here. I hate going to the loo in the bush. At least there they have proper toilets. He shifts around in a sleeping bag, making a crinkle. A noise startles him just beyond the zipper door. Who's there? Matt calls out. Silence answers back. He reassures himself as one of the others head into the loo. In the distance he hears a chilling scream. Probably an animal. Foxes sound like screaming children. Later in the dead of night, another sound has them both reaching for their flashlights in pure terror. Andy, what the heck? You awake? I'm awake. Did you hear that too? Their flashlights illuminate them in a ghoulish way. The tent shakes on all sides, nearly buckling in the middle. Cut it out, you guys! Matt yells, thinking it's the others playing a prank. Andy pokes his head out through the zipper. He sees that all the other tents have disappeared. Lightning strikes burst like fireworks in the sky, and thunder roars above them. Matt, we need to get out now! Confused, they stumble out into the clearing. The fire is stone cold dead. Not even an ember glow. Everyone has vanished. They are alone. Shocked, they run around in the rain. The edges of the world wrenched apart. Nothing makes sense. Where did everybody go? I don't get it. They would never leave us. What are we going to do? Auntie pleads. I don't know. We can't follow them. No idea where they went. A horrendous crashing sound. Snapping branches in the forest. Something big is moving, coming closer. They try to run but are knocked down by gigantic boulders, crashing through the trees. Both are pummeled into a ghastly mash of human soup. More boulders burying them for good. Meanwhile, Greg is talking to Damien in their tent about how he came to be a facilitator for the group. He got himself into a lot of trouble when he was younger. Life was rough, growing up in a rundown housing corp apartment, living in poverty. This impelled Greg into becoming a social worker for children and adolescents. He enjoys his job, motivating kids and helping them through their struggles. He takes them on outings because their parents don't have time or the funds. Damien is drifting off. It's been a long, grueling day. Greg yawns and stretching, as is about to roll over for a more comfortable position, when he hears a loud crash somewhere outside. Did you just hear something? He asked Damien, but received no reply. Suddenly, his bladder needs relief, so he puts on his boots and makes his way out of the tent, closes the zipper and roams over to the nearest tree. Standing there, releasing his bladder, he is startled by a bright light wandering through the forest. When he finishes, he decides to investigate. Perhaps one of the kids is out there lost. This propels him forward, pushing branches away, slick and wet, sprinkling him in raindrops, trudging through the mud to a place where he saw the light. It keeps moving, and so does Greg. Whenever he thinks he is close, it moves further away. Realizing too late that it can't be the kids. They wouldn't be out here this far away from the camp. It isn't until Greg falls through an old abandoned mine shaft from 100 years ago. His legs flying in the air, he hits the ground 40 meters down. Only then does he realize his mistake. He shouldn't have come on this trip, not after the nightmare he had the night before at home, sleeping next to his girlfriend of 3 years, Melanie. The memory of it, sitting heavy on his head like a rock. He's covered in blood, been eaten alive by something he can't see. As he lays there dying, a bloody broken mess, horror grips him when he feels trillions of little paws scuttling over his body. In his last breath, with what little strength he has left, he cries out for help. The mineshaft swallows his voice. Damien has waited long enough. He is terrified when he woke to find himself alone inside the tent. His flashlight casts a weak pale yellow glow, and he has to hit it a couple of times to get it to work properly. "Greg, are you out there?" he calls. The wind whips away his words. He crawls out into the night. The ground is drenched, sloshing through the mud in bare feet. With his flashlight spreading over the campsite, he is devastated to find all the tents have vanished. "What the hell? Greg! Carol, where are you?" he screams into the storm. Damien is abruptly and viciously lifted off the ground. Upside down, up into a tree, dragged right to the very top. Cold, wet wings wrap themselves around him. When knife-sharp claws release him, and the ground comes rushing, it becomes poignantly clear. This is how it ends. His neck snaps when ground meets body, a bloody crumpled mess at the bottom of the ancient tree. Charlotte and Serena are restlessly sleeping, when suddenly Carol bursts into the tent, frightening them both awake. "Get up, we need to go," she says, as she pulls at their sleeping bags to get them up and out. "Why, what's wrong?" Charlotte is scared, seeing the fear in Carol's eyes, which glow orange reflecting in the light of her dying flashlight. They hear it through the storm. Something splits the forest apart. The trees shake and bend in ludicrous ways. Carol and the girls look out into the pitch black. Only a small portion is lit by the flashlights. Frightened by what they see, the two girls dive back into the tent, dress swiftly, leaving their possessions behind in the chaos. "Quickly now," Carol urges from outside the tent. Rumbling rocks crunching, trees breaking, snaps her into gear. Hastily she scans the campsite. Just before she'd woken the girls, she was dumbfounded to discover the other tents had disappeared. A shiver courses through her blood, ice cold in fear and confusion. The two girls emerge. They're nearly out, when unexpectedly a huge tree falls right across the tent, smashing them into pulpy blood with bones and bloody matter. Carol throws up, sponging herself from the horrendous sight. The girl can't be saved, so she runs for her life. Moments before her flashlight dies for good, she spots the entrance to a cave and makes her way inside. Huddled behind a rock, close to the entrance, she can see something black and red and huge, cast into the lightning strikes drawing closer. With each striking explosion in the sky, the black mass comes closer and closer, until it is standing at the entrance of the cave looking in. Then, in the next strike, it's gone. Seconds later, a rod of lightning hits a tree next to the cave, exposing something truly horrifying. It makes her scream in revulsion. It's a ginormous black creature with red glowing eyes, in front of her now, and by her hair it lifts her off the ground, her legs swaying in mid-air. It turns her body to face it. Its face is grotesque, distorted, like some cross-breeding experiment gone horribly wrong. Standing at least 10 feet tall, its stench putrid. She feels sick, brushing against its rock-hard furry body. Its claws dig into her skin, making her scream out in pain. Then it dumps her on the ground, knocking her out when her head greets rock. Carol wakes on cold hard dirt. The sun is peeking into the cave. The nasty gash in her head has stopped bleeding, and it doesn't really hurt. With water she finds dripping into the cave, she wipes the blood from her face and eyes, clearing her vision. Carol starts walking, confused and perhaps concussed. Her mind is a muddled mess. Daylight arrives bright in the sky, no rain in sight. She obsesses over everything she can remember, but, having no idea how long it's been since they entered into the forest, she can't make sense of what happened. Misery becomes her as she vaguely recalls the creature in the cave. Was it all a bad dream? Her digital watch has stopped working. It's blank, so she doesn't know the time or date. Eventually the sky turns into night. Carol stumbles across the road they traverse to get to the car park. It isn't far. She recognizes the sign pointing to it. But when she gets there to where the van should be, the car park is empty. Trudging along the lone, wet, slippery road, all she wants to do is sleep. Nobody passes by, so she can't get any help. Worn, Battered and bloodied, finally she reaches the police station. They take her straight into a warm office, give her a warm blanket, a hot chocolate, and a doctor cleans her wounds. Several officers stare at her through the internal window. The detective closes the blinds to shut them out. They are bewildered, and a couple of older sergeants who remember the case have dread in their eyes and bad thoughts in their heads. It's the case they never solved. After she has purged herself of what little information she can give, the detective inhales a deep breath, ending in a long sigh. He tells her something she can't comprehend. To prove it, he pulls out an old newspaper article from a dusty manila folder and places it into her shaking hands. Missing: 2 scouts and 5 teens. Scout leaders Carol Hughes, 57, Greg Hamilton, 30, and teenagers Matt Simmons, 14, Andy Carruthers, 15, Serena Lockwood, 14, Charlotte Martin, 14, and Damien Nelson, 14, have all been missing since February 15th, 2010. The group were last seen a week ago. They were on a scouting tour with an organisation, Kids Can Do It. The group of 7 were on their way to Luther's camping grounds. They never made it. According to logbook entries, the group have not been seen or heard from since. Several searches are underway. A Nikon camera was found in the car park, believed to have belonged to Hamilton. Police are appealing for any information. When Carol wandered into the police station, it is the year 2022. She is distraught by what she's learned. She can't have been walking lost in the forest for 12 long years. It's impossible. Yet, he pulls a photo from the same folder. It's the one they took at the car park together before they entered the forest. On the back it says it was printed in 2010. The detective explains that although they never found the bodies, everyone was presumed dead. After 7 years had passed, the coroner ruled them all deceased. As the detective takes her statement, he watches her intently for signs of deception. Astounded that she still looks the same as the day she went into the forest almost 12 years ago. It's an absolute mystery.
Well, we hope that you enjoyed our latest horrific tale. If you want to keep up to date with future episodes, then subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow our social media pages. You can also give the channel support by visiting our merchandise store and picking up some of our items. We would also appreciate it if you took a moment to support our contributing artists, who very kindly lend their talents to the show. Check out the links in the description to see how you can do this. Well, that just leaves me to say, until next time my friends, keep it creepy, keep it horrific.